You're not like other women, and he feels it before he understands it. It's not your looks, it's not your words, it's not how much you give. It's the calm you carry, the way you don't chase approval, the way you walk away from what disturbs your peace. That difference unsettles him because he's used to women who explain, beg, adjust, and wait. And when a woman doesn't do that, it shakes him. You don't seek validation, you carry certainty. You don't seek validation because your heart is not empty. A woman who carries certainty has already settled the most important question inside herself, who she is before Allah. When that question is answered, the need to be constantly affirmed by people fades naturally. Islam teaches that honor comes from Allah, not from applause. A woman rooted in this truth does not look around to check if she is approved, liked, or chosen. She moves forward calmly because her worth is not being negotiated in every interaction. Certainty creates stillness. Stillness creates presence, and presence changes how others perceive you. When you stop seeking validation, your energy shifts from asking to being. People feel that shift immediately. It unsettles those who are used to being needed, chased, or emotionally depended on. Certainty does not announce itself. It is felt in how you speak, how you pause, and how you walk away without drama. Islam does not teach loud confidence. It teaches dignified certainty. That dignity is powerful because it cannot be shaken by opinion, silence, or rejection. A woman who seeks validation often gives away her power without realizing it. She explains herself excessively, softens her truth, and adjusts her behavior to be accepted. Islam teaches clarity, not self-erasure. Certainty removes the need to over-explain. When you are certain, you don't rush to justify your boundaries or your decisions. You trust that what is right does not need defending. This trust is deeply attractive because it reflects inner alignment. A woman aligned with herself does not bend under pressure. She listens, reflects, and responds only when necessary. This restraint creates gravity. Gravity pulls attention without effort. Validation seeking repels because it carries anxiety. Certainty attracts because it carries peace. Peace is rare, and rarity commands respect. When you stop asking to be seen, you become impossible to ignore. Certainty also changes how you handle disagreement. A woman who seeks validation fears being misunderstood. A woman who carries certainty allows misunderstanding to exist. Islam teaches patience and trust in Allah's knowledge. You do not need everyone to understand you for your life to make sense. When certainty is present, disagreement does not feel like a threat. You don't argue your worth. You don't chase agreement. You let others sit with their discomfort. This calm response unsettles those who are used to emotional reactions. It forces reflection. Reflection often leads to respect. Certainty does not demand alignment, it allows it. That allowance creates space for genuine connection rather than forced approval. A woman who carries certainty is emotionally self-regulated. She does not rise and fall with attention. Islam teaches emotional discipline because emotions unmanaged lead to dependency. Certainty stabilizes emotions. When messages slow down or responses change, she does not spiral. She observes. Observation protects the heart. Protection creates confidence. Confidence makes your presence feel grounded. People sense when someone is not emotionally hungry. Emotional hunger creates pressure. Pressure suffocates connection. Certainty removes pressure. And where pressure is removed, attachment grows naturally. Certainty also sharpens boundaries. A woman who seeks validation often keeps access open too long out of fear of loss. Islam teaches self-respect as a form of faith. When certainty is present, boundaries are enforced quietly. There is no need to threaten, explain, or argue. Behavior adjusts access. This consistency communicates strength. Strength invites seriousness. Seriousness deepens emotional investment. A woman who carries certainty does not fear losing people who require her to doubt herself. She trusts Allah's replacement. That trust removes desperation. Desperation is loud, certainty is silent, silence speaks louder. Certainty makes your no powerful. A woman who doubts herself apologizes for her limits. A woman who is certain states them calmly or simply lives them. Islam teaches that truth spoken gently carries weight. Your no does not come from anger, it comes from clarity. This clarity shifts dynamics. Others begin to measure their behavior. Effort increases where clarity exists. Certainty trains others how to treat you without confrontation. That training is subtle but effective. Certainty also frees you from comparison. Validation seeking thrives on comparison. Islam teaches contentment with Allah's decree. A woman who is content does not compete for attention. She focuses on alignment. Alignment creates uniqueness. Uniqueness is attractive because it cannot be replicated. When you stop measuring yourself against others, your presence becomes distinct. Distinction unsettles those who rely on sameness. It draws those who value depth. Certainty changes your relationship with silence. Silence does not scare you. Islam teaches reflection in silence. A woman who carries certainty does not fill quiet moments to secure reassurance. She allows silence to exist. That silence invites others to lean in. Leaning in creates emotional movement. Certainty allows this movement because it is not rushing outcomes. Certainty also anchors you in purpose. When you know why you exist, validation loses its grip. Islam teaches purposeful living. Purpose stabilizes identity. A stable identity does not chase affirmation. It attracts alignment. Alignment brings the right people closer and removes the wrong ones without conflict. You don't seek validation because you carry certainty. And that certainty does not come from ego or pride. It comes from knowing who you are with Allah. When a woman carries that knowing, she becomes calm, grounded, and unmistakable. That calm shakes those who are used to controlling reactions. Not because she tries to impress, but because she no longer needs to. You have boundaries, not fear. You have boundaries, not fear, because fear reacts while boundaries respond. A fearful heart is driven by anxiety, constantly adjusting to avoid loss, rejection, or conflict. Islam teaches us something higher, clarity rooted in trust. Boundaries are not walls built out of insecurity. They are lines drawn from self-respect. A woman who has boundaries is not afraid of closeness. She is selective about it. She understands that not everyone deserves access to her emotions, her time, or her energy. This understanding does not come from past hurt alone, it comes from wisdom. Islam teaches that the heart is an amana, a trust from Allah, and trusts are protected intentionally. When a woman enforces boundaries calmly, she communicates inner certainty. There is no panic in her voice, no urgency in her actions. She does not rush to explain herself. She simply lives according to her values. That steadiness is often misunderstood by those who equate boundaries with rejection. In reality, boundaries are an expression of self-knowledge. They say, I know what I can carry, and I will not carry what harms me. Fear makes a woman overextend. Boundaries help her remain whole. A fearful woman stays too long, explains too much, and tolerates inconsistency to avoid being alone. Islam does not teach clinging to what drains the soul. It teaches tawakkul, reliance on Allah. Boundaries are reliance in action. When a woman trusts Allah, she does not fear losing people who require her to abandon herself. She understands that what is meant for her will not require self-betrayal. Boundaries remove the need to negotiate dignity. They are not aggressive or defensive, they are quiet and consistent. This consistency shifts dynamics. People quickly sense when emotional manipulation no longer works. They either rise to meet the standard or step away. Both outcomes are forms of protection. Fear keeps you stuck explaining. Boundaries move you forward without argument. Boundaries also preserve emotional clarity. Fear clouds judgment because it prioritizes comfort over truth. Islam teaches discernment, and discernment needs space. When a woman sets boundaries, she creates that space. She is able to observe behavior without being overwhelmed by emotion. Observation leads to insight. Insight prevents repeated harm. A woman with boundaries does not confuse intensity with sincerity. She notices patterns calmly. This calm noticing is powerful. It keeps her from reacting impulsively or giving second chances too quickly. Fear rushes decisions. Boundaries slow them down. Slowing down allows wisdom to lead. Wisdom protects the heart long before pain arrives. Many people mistake boundaries for coldness because they are accustomed to emotional availability without limits. Islam does not require constant accessibility. It requires kindness with wisdom. A woman with boundaries can still be warm, compassionate, and present. The difference is that her warmth is intentional. She does not give endlessly to prove her worth. She gives where there is respect and reciprocity. This selectivity communicates value. Value encourages seriousness. Seriousness deepens emotional investment. Fear gives everything away quickly. Boundaries make connection meaningful. Boundaries also reduce resentment. Fearful giving creates hidden frustration when needs are ignored. Islam teaches addressing harm before it grows. Boundaries prevent resentment by honoring limits early. A woman who respects her limits remains emotionally present and generous without bitterness. Bitterness erodes connection. Peace preserves it. Boundaries preserve peace. Boundaries teach others how to engage with you. Fear teaches others what they can take. Islam emphasizes consistency of character. Consistent boundaries build trust because expectations are clear. Clarity creates safety. Safety invites closeness. When people know where they stand, they relax. Fear-based behavior creates confusion. Confusion destabilizes relationships. Boundaries stabilize them. Boundaries also protect faith. When a woman repeatedly compromises her values to maintain connection, her heart becomes conflicted. Islam teaches alignment between belief and action. Boundaries restore alignment. A woman who lives aligned feels internally peaceful. That peace strengthens Iman. Strong Iman strengthens resolve. Resolve prevents emotional bargaining. This inner strength is felt by others. It changes how they approach her. Boundaries are also a sign of emotional maturity. Emotional maturity is rare. Islam values maturity because it reflects self-awareness. A woman who knows her emotional limits does not shame herself for having them. She honors them. This honor commands respect. Respect shifts behavior. Behavior rooted in respect creates healthier dynamics. Boundaries remove fear of abandonment. When a woman knows she will choose herself with Allah's support, fear loosens its grip. Islam teaches that Allah is enough. A woman who believes this does not panic when someone pulls away. She remains steady. Steadiness is strength. Strength attracts those who are secure and repels those who seek control. You have boundaries, not fear, because your heart is no longer negotiating its safety. Boundaries are not reactions to others. They are commitments to yourself before Allah. When a woman lives this way, she becomes calm, clear, and unshakable. And that calm strength changes everything around her. You are emotionally grounded. You are emotionally grounded because your heart is no longer pulled in every direction by reaction. Emotional grounding is not emotional numbness, it is emotional clarity. Islam teaches that the strongest hearts are not the loudest ones, but the most anchored. A woman who is emotionally grounded does not panic when emotions arise. She allows them to pass through her without letting them control her decisions. This grounding comes from self-awareness and faith. She knows what she feels, but she is not ruled by what she feels. That distinction is powerful. Many people live at the mercy of their emotions, reacting instantly, speaking impulsively, and regretting later. Emotional grounding creates pause. That pause protects dignity. It allows wisdom to lead instead of impulse. When a woman responds rather than reacts, her presence feels steady. Others sense that steadiness and instinctively adjust. Emotional grounding creates safety, and safety is deeply attractive. It signals maturity, reliability, and inner strength. This kind of calm cannot be faked. It is built through reflection, discipline, and trust in Allah's wisdom. An emotionally grounded woman does not need constant reassurance. She does not collapse when attention fluctuates or when outcomes are uncertain. Islam teaches reliance on Allah, not on people. That reliance stabilizes the heart. When reassurance is sought from Allah rather than from others, emotional balance follows naturally. A grounded woman understands that silence does not equal rejection and distance does not equal loss. She observes patterns without catastrophizing them. This ability to stay centered during uncertainty unsettles those who rely on emotional reactions to feel significant. Emotional grounding removes emotional leverage from others. When someone realizes they cannot provoke, rush, or destabilize you, the dynamic changes. Respect grows. Reflection begins. Emotional grounding shifts power quietly, without confrontation. Emotional grounding also changes how conflict is handled. A grounded woman does not escalate. She does not argue to win or speak to dominate. Islam teaches gentleness paired with truth. By grounding allows her to express herself calmly or to step back when discussion becomes unproductive. She understands that not every disagreement needs resolution in the moment. Timing matters. This patience preserves dignity. It prevents words spoken from emotion rather than intention. When a woman remains composed during tension, she becomes the emotional anchor in the interaction. Others often soften in response. Emotional grounding de-escalates without effort. That ability is rare and deeply valued. People remember how you made them feel more than what you said. Calm presence leaves a lasting impression. Emotional grounding also protects the heart from exhaustion. Emotional chaos is draining. Constant reactions, overthinking, and emotional highs and lows deplete energy. Islam teaches balance because imbalance leads to harm. A grounded woman conserves emotional energy. She does not invest deeply where there is inconsistency or confusion. This conservation keeps her vibrant. Vibrancy rooted in calm feels nourishing to others. People gravitate toward what nourishes them. Emotional grounding creates that nourishment by removing drama from connection. A grounded woman is also deeply self-aware. She recognizes her triggers without being ashamed of them. Islam encourages self-accountability, not self-condemnation. Emotional grounding allows a woman to acknowledge wounds without letting them dictate behavior. She knows when to pause, when to speak, and when to walk away. This discernment protects her peace. Peace strengthens confidence. Confidence stabilizes relationships. Emotional grounding is the foundation of all three. Emotional grounding also sharpens intuition. When emotions are regulated, intuition becomes clearer. Islam teaches reflection and mindfulness. A grounded woman senses when something is misaligned without needing proof or confrontation. She trusts her inner signals. This trust prevents overexposure and premature attachment. When a woman does not rush emotionally, she allows sincerity to reveal itself over time. Time exposes truth. Emotional grounding gives truth the space to surface. A grounded woman does not romanticize chaos. She understands that intensity is not depth. Islam values tranquility because it supports long-term growth. Emotional grounding attracts those who are secure and repels those who thrive on instability. This filtering is protective. It ensures that relationships formed are healthier and more balanced. A grounded heart does not chase excitement at the expense of peace. Emotional grounding also strengthens boundaries. Boundaries held calmly are stronger than boundaries enforced emotionally. Islam teaches consistency of character. A grounded woman enforces limits without guilt or anger. She does not need to justify them repeatedly. Her consistency teaches others how to engage with her. This clarity reduces misunderstandings and emotional friction. Relationships feel lighter and more respectful. A grounded woman also trusts herself. She does not second guess every decision or seek constant validation. Islam teaches trust in Allah's guidance within the heart. This trust creates internal alignment. Alignment reduces inner conflict. Reduced conflict increases peace. Peace stabilizes presence. Presence influences connection. Emotional grounding strengthens this entire chain. You are emotionally grounded because you are no longer governed by reaction. You are guided by clarity, faith, and self-respect. This grounding is not loud, but it is unmistakable. It changes how people respond to you, not because you demand it, but because calm strength reshapes every space it enters. You don't chase, you observe. You don't chase because chasing clouds judgment, while observation sharpens it. When a woman chases, her focus shifts from truth to outcome. She watches reactions instead of patterns, words instead of consistency. Islam teaches us to be people of insight, not impulse. Observation is an act of wisdom. A woman who observes gives herself time to see clearly. She does not rush to fill silence or fix uncertainty. She allows behavior to reveal intention naturally. This patience is not passivity. It is discernment in action. When you observe, you gather information without emotional cost. You notice how someone behaves when things are easy and when they are not. You see whether effort is consistent or conditional. Chasing interrupts this process because it forces connection before clarity. Observation protects the heart by delaying emotional investment until sincerity is evident. This restraint communicates self-respect. Self-respect changes dynamics immediately. People sense when they are being watched calmly rather than pursued anxiously. That awareness encourages sincerity or reveals misalignment. Either way, you gain truth. Islam honors truth because it frees the heart from illusion. A woman who does not chase does not fear losing control because she is not trying to control outcomes. Islam teaches tawakkul, trusting Allah with results. Observation aligns with tawakkul because it releases urgency. When urgency leaves, calm enters. Calm allows perspective. A woman who observes is not emotionally absent, she is emotionally regulated. She feels interest without attachment, curiosity without dependence. This balance is rare. It signals maturity. Maturity creates emotional gravity. People are drawn to those who are not scrambling for reassurance. Chasing communicates need. Observation communicates sufficiency. Sufficiency shifts power inward. When your emotional state does not depend on immediate response, you regain control over your reactions. That control is felt. It makes your presence steady and grounded. Others begin to adjust their behavior, often becoming more intentional. Observation invites effort because it does not reward inconsistency with attention. Observation also prevents self-betrayal. When a woman chases, she may ignore red flags to maintain connection. Islam teaches protecting the heart as an amana. Observation honors that trust. It allows you to notice discomfort without dismissing it. You observe how you feel around someone. Do you feel calm or anxious, expanded or diminished? Observation includes self-observation. This inward awareness is critical. A woman who observes herself alongside others makes wiser decisions. She does not confuse attraction with alignment. Alignment becomes the standard. This standard filters connections naturally. Those who align remain. Those who do not drift away. No force is needed. A woman who observes also listens differently. She listens without planning a response or trying to impress. Islam values listening because it reveals character. Through observation, you notice not just what is said, but what is avoided. You notice follow-through, tone, and timing. These details matter. Chasing skips details. Observation collects them. Details reveal truth over time. Truth protects the heart. A protected heart moves slowly but surely. This pace is powerful because it resists manipulation. Manipulation thrives on haste. Observation dissolves it. Observation also cultivates emotional independence. When you are not chasing, you are not waiting to be chosen. Islam teaches that worth is inherent, not granted. Observation reinforces this belief. You are not auditioning, you are evaluating. This shift is profound. It changes how you carry yourself. Your questions become internal rather than external. You ask, is this right for me? Instead of, am I enough? This internal orientation strengthens confidence. Confidence stabilizes presence. Presence attracts without pursuit. A woman who observes does not compete. Competition arises from scarcity mindset. Islam teaches that provision is from Allah. Observation operates from abundance. You trust that what is meant for you will not require pursuit. This trust relaxes the heart. Relaxed hearts see clearly. Clear vision prevents emotional entanglement. Observation keeps desire in check until trust is earned. Earned trust creates deeper attachment than forced closeness ever could. Observation also allows emotional pacing. When you don't chase, relationships unfold gradually. Islam teaches patience because patience reveals sincerity. Gradual unfolding allows both hearts to adjust naturally. There is no pressure to define or secure outcomes prematurely. Pressure suffocates connection. Observation removes pressure. Where pressure is absent, authenticity grows. A woman who observes also preserves mystery. Mystery is not secrecy, it is depth revealed over time. Islam values modesty and restraint. Observation aligns with both. You do not reveal everything at once. You allow layers to emerge naturally. This layered connection sustains interest. Interest deepens when discovery is ongoing. Chasing collapses mystery. Observation preserves it. Observation strengthens boundaries. You notice when boundaries are respected or tested. Islam teaches consistency. Observation shows whether respect is stable or performative. This awareness informs decisions without confrontation. Quiet decisions are often the strongest. You adjust access based on behavior, not promises. This consistency communicates strength. Strength invites respect. You don't chase because you trust Allah more than outcomes. You observe because wisdom requires patience. When a woman lives this way, she stops exhausting herself trying to be chosen. She becomes calm, attentive, and discerning. And in that calm observation, truth reveals itself without resistance. You choose peace over attachment. You choose peace over attachment because peace is sustainable, while attachment without grounding is exhausting. Islam teaches us that the heart was created to find rest in Allah, not to cling to people for stability. When attachment becomes the source of safety, the heart lives in constant fear of loss. Peace removes that fear. A woman who chooses peace does not disconnect from love, she disconnects from dependence. This distinction is essential. Attachment says, I need you to be okay. Peace says, I am okay whether you stay or go. That inner stance changes everything. It softens the nervous system, quiets the mind, and restores balance. People often believe attachment equals depth, but depth without peace becomes anxiety. Islam teaches that tranquility is a sign of faith. When peace leads, love becomes lighter and more sincere. A woman who chooses peace no longer negotiates her well-being to preserve connection. She honors her emotional limits because she understands that constant turbulence is not love. Peace is not avoidance, it is alignment with what nurtures the soul. When peace is chosen, dignity returns to the heart. Choosing peace over attachment means refusing to make someone else the center of your emotional universe. Islam reminds us that nothing created should occupy the place reserved for Allah. When a woman places another person at that center, her emotional state becomes fragile. Every change in attention feels personal. Every silence feels threatening. Peace restores proportion. It puts relationships in their rightful place. A woman who chooses peace enjoys connection without idolizing it. She values companionship but does not collapse without it. This emotional independence is not coldness, it is strength. Strength allows affection to flow freely because it is not driven by fear. Fear distorts love, peace purifies it. When peace is prioritized, emotional reactions soften. The heart stops bargaining for reassurance. This steadiness is deeply grounding. Others feel it immediately. It removes pressure from interactions and invites authenticity. Peace creates a safe emotional environment where sincerity can exist without performance. A woman who chooses peace listens to her body as well as her heart. Islam recognizes the unity of body and soul. When attachment is unhealthy, the body signals distress through tension, restlessness, and fatigue. Peace calms these signals. Choosing peace means honoring what your body and soul are communicating. It means stepping back when connection feels draining rather than nourishing. This step back is not abandonment. It is self-care rooted in faith. Islam teaches that harming oneself emotionally is not a form of patience. Patience does not mean enduring what breaks you. Choosing peace is choosing wisdom. Wisdom prevents repeated harm. A woman who chooses peace stops justifying discomfort for the sake of closeness. She understands that love should feel expansive, not constricting. This understanding changes her standards quietly but firmly. Choosing peace also changes how a woman handles uncertainty. Attachment demands certainty now. Peace allows outcomes to unfold. Islam teaches trust in Allah's timing. A peaceful heart does not rush to define, secure, or control relationships. It allows time to reveal truth. This patience protects the heart from premature investment. A woman who chooses peace does not interpret delay as rejection. She remains grounded. Grounded presence invites respect. Respect deepens connection naturally. Attachment pushes. Peace allows. Allowing is powerful because it removes resistance. When resistance fades, clarity appears. Clarity guides decisions without emotional chaos. Choosing peace over attachment also means letting go of the need to be chosen. Islam teaches that worth is inherent, not awarded. A woman who chooses peace does not audition for love. She evaluates alignment calmly. This shift restores self-respect. Self-respect strengthens boundaries. Boundaries protect peace. The cycle reinforces itself. Attachment erodes boundaries. Peace fortifies them. Fortified boundaries create emotional safety. Safety supports healthier attachment later. Peace now does not eliminate love later. It prepares the heart for it. Peace also refines emotional expression. A peaceful woman does not suppress feelings, but she does not allow feelings to dictate behavior. Islam teaches moderation. When peace leads, emotions are processed thoughtfully. Words are chosen carefully. Reactions are measured. This composure changes dynamics. Others respond with more care when emotional volatility is absent. Peace teaches others how to engage respectfully. This respect increases emotional investment over time. Choosing peace also reduces comparison. Attachment often fuels comparison because worth feels conditional. Islam teaches contentment with Allah's decree. Contentment quiets envy and competition. A peaceful woman does not measure her value against others. She stands confidently in her own path. This confidence is calming rather than intimidating. Calm confidence attracts those who are secure. It filters out those who thrive on drama. Peace becomes a protective shield. Peace strengthens faith. When a woman chooses peace, she aligns her actions with trust in Allah. Islam teaches that hearts find rest through remembrance. Peace creates space for remembrance. In that space, faith deepens. Deep faith stabilizes identity. A stable identity does not cling. It connects freely. Peace and faith reinforce one another. Choosing peace over attachment also heals past wounds. Attachment often keeps wounds open by replaying fear of loss. Peace allows wounds to close gently. Healing accelerates when the heart is no longer bracing for abandonment. Islam teaches that Allah is the healer. Peace invites His healing presence. Healing restores clarity and strength. You choose peace over attachment because peace honors the heart Allah entrusted to you. Attachment without grounding drains that trust. Peace restores it. When a woman chooses peace, she does not lose love. She loses fear. And when fear leaves, love becomes healthier, lighter, and more aligned with faith. You are anchored in Allah, not people. You are anchored in Allah, not people, because only Allah was meant to carry the weight of your heart. When a woman places her emotional center in people, she becomes vulnerable to instability. Moods change, attention shifts, promises break, and suddenly her inner world is shaken. Islam teaches us that the heart finds rest only in the remembrance of Allah. This is not poetry, it is truth. Anchoring your heart in Allah means your peace is no longer dependent on consistency from creation. You still love, care, and connect, but your foundation remains unmovable. A woman anchored in Allah does not panic when someone pulls away, misunderstands her, or changes their behavior. She feels disappointment, but she does not lose herself. Her emotional core remains intact. This stability is deeply felt by others. It carries calm, depth, and quiet authority. When Allah is your anchor, you stop demanding that people meet needs they were never created to fulfill. This removes pressure from relationships and restores balance. Balance strengthens connection rather than weakening it. When a woman is anchored in Allah, her self-worth is no longer negotiated through attention or approval. Islam teaches that honor comes from Allah alone. This belief changes how a woman carries herself. She does not shrink to be loved or perform to be chosen. She knows she is already seen by the one who matters most. This knowing softens anxiety and strengthens resolve. A woman who is not seeking emotional validation from people becomes emotionally free. Emotional freedom is powerful because it removes desperation. Desperation repels sincerity. Faith attracts it. Others feel safer around someone who is not clinging to them for stability. That safety allows genuine connection to form. When Allah is the anchor, people become companions, not lifelines. Companionship is healthy. Lifelines create dependency. Islam encourages interdependence grounded in faith, not emotional captivity. Being anchored in Allah also changes how you experience loss. Loss no longer feels like collapse. Islam teaches that everything returns to Allah. A woman anchored in Him understands that people may leave, change, or disappoint, but Allah remains constant. This understanding does not harden the heart, it strengthens it. Grief is processed with trust rather than panic. Pain is felt without despair. Anchoring in Allah provides emotional containment. The heart bends but does not break. This resilience is not learned overnight. It is built through remembrance, prayer, and surrender. Over time, a woman realizes that her capacity to endure has increased. She becomes emotionally durable. Durability is attractive because it signals strength without aggression. It reassures others that connection with you is safe, not fragile. Anchoring in Allah also purifies intention. When people are the anchor, actions often become transactional. Love is given in exchange for reassurance. Kindness is offered in hope of security. Islam teaches sincerity. When Allah is the anchor, actions are done for His sake first. This removes hidden expectations. Relationships feel lighter because they are not burdened with unspoken demands. A woman anchored in Allah can give freely and step back peacefully. She does not keep emotional score. This freedom changes how others experience her presence. They feel accepted, not managed. Acceptance deepens trust. Trust strengthens bonds. A woman anchored in Allah is also less reactive. Reactivity often comes from fear of losing connection. Islam teaches patience and restraint. When Allah is the anchor, fear loosens its grip. Silence does not trigger panic. Distance does not provoke chasing. The heart remains steady. This steadiness reshapes dynamics. Others become more intentional because emotional volatility is absent. Calm presence invites reflection. Reflection encourages maturity. Anchoring in Allah elevates the emotional tone of relationships. Anchoring in Allah also sharpens discernment. When people are the anchor, red flags are often ignored to preserve attachment. Islam teaches wisdom and self-protection. A woman anchored in Allah notices misalignment without denial. She does not rush to explain it away. She trusts her inner guidance because it is informed by faith. This trust prevents repeated harm. It allows her to walk away without bitterness. Bitterness comes from misplaced dependence. Faith dissolves it. A woman anchored in Allah does not confuse loneliness with emptiness. Islam teaches that solitude with Allah is not loneliness. When people are the anchor, being alone feels unbearable. When Allah is the anchor, being alone feels grounding. This ability to stand alone calmly is powerful. It removes fear-based attachment. Others sense that you are choosing them, not needing them. Being chosen is different from being needed. Choice deepens attachment. Need creates pressure. Anchoring in Allah also restores emotional proportion. Relationships are important, but they are not everything. Islam teaches balance. A woman anchored in Allah has a full inner life. Her faith, values, and purpose occupy the center. People orbit around that center rather than replacing it. This structure stabilizes her emotional world. Stability attracts those who are secure and repels those who seek control. Anchoring in Allah strengthens boundaries naturally. When Allah is the anchor, you do not fear losing people for honoring your limits. Islam teaches that Allah replaces what is left for His sake. This belief empowers a woman to say no calmly. Her no is not defensive, it is peaceful. Peaceful boundaries are firm. Firm boundaries command respect. Respect deepens healthy attachment. You are anchored in Allah, not people, because people were never meant to carry your soul. When Allah holds your heart, everything else finds its proper place. You love without clinging, give without losing yourself, and walk away without fear. That grounded faith does not make you distant, it makes you whole, and wholeness is unmistakable. A woman who knows who she is doesn't need to convince anyone. She doesn't perform for love, beg for clarity, or shrink to be accepted. And when a man encounters a woman like that, it challenges everything he's used to. Not because she tries to impress him, but because she doesn't need to. If your presence makes him uneasy, it's not a flaw. It's proof that you're operating on a level he's not used to. Stay rooted, stay calm, stay aligned with Allah. The right person won't be shaken by your strength, they'll be drawn to it.